Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hopefully you're doing great. Everybody's doing okay. Um, again, welcome to another beautiful night here in the nights of Ramadan, where we say always the nights of the best of nights and the days are its best of days. And so as we've been going through, guys, I love in terms of some of the feedback I've been getting, and I really appreciate everything that everyone's been kind of taking from this. I'm honored, and again, just thank you for being patient and having the time to actually give to these kind of growth in terms of yourself and just kind of bringing yourself to the next level. Now, guys, tonight is the final chapter within this mini series, and we talked about the kind of getting yourself to the next level through these things. Tonight, what I want to do is take you through 8 levels of achieving flow. And these are psychological studies, and there's actually other aspects. And flow is a very studied phenomenon in terms of neuropsychology, psychology, all other aspects of it. But also, it's really amazing what has happened within the field. It's stemmed out from all over. It's not just the certain aspects of just performance, it's performance everywhere, from academics to ultimately all other levels, sports, everything else. So major teams now, like if you look at NBA, hockey league, everything else in terms of the baseball, they all have psychologists on board in terms of performance psychologists. So this is an amazing field that has been studied. So what I wanted to give you tonight is something that now, let's say you've set the goal, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You've set the goal, you're ready to go, you have the confidence, and you're moving forward. I'm going to show you that program, how it works. And then now how to beat everyone when the gun goes off and now you're in the race. So what are the 8 factors that will help you achieve optimal performance? That's what I'm going to go through today. So just wanted to share a little story with you guys before we start. And I remember when I was going through all these motions, and it was incredible for me when I had a mentor who was giving me his time, and he mentored me for about 5 years. And that for me was the changing point of my whole life. And he gave me finally the ropes afterwards. And here I am today in terms of just what he did for me as I was growing. I was younger, and he just pretty much set the direction of my whole life. And I can't stress enough for you guys, when I was in school and in terms of the university, go Michigan, that's where I'm from. But there, one of my professors, and she was one of the top, IO psychologists. And IO psychology is industrial / organizational psychology. And she said, if there's something you want to take from this class, it's take that finding mentorship is everything. And she even mentioned, she goes, I wish I had a mentor as I was moving through the lines in terms of where I needed to go, my performance. So mentorship, guys, mentorship, it just saves you time. What you have to do in 2 years, a mentor will get you in 2 weeks. That's how it works in terms of using their experience. So as I was going through the lines and where he was kind of taking me to cross the lines, pushing me into my discomfort zone, I'm going to show you how that works in a bit. But it's amazing. I remember one day, and it was like 2:00 in the morning, and I was just learning Arabic. I was coming back to kind of understanding who I was. And I remember I wanted to quit so bad. And we had an exam the next day, and we were studying. And he wouldn't let me give up. He just literally wouldn't let me stop. He would say the word again, I would say it after him, and he would say it again, and I would say it after him. It's like the movies you see with where the trainer's training the trainee, and that's how it felt like, so, but he took the time to do that with me, and he gave me so much strength and an ability, and just I needed kind of that crutch. And these are very special people that come into your life. So please, if there's someone who has knowledge, has information, has wisdom, has experience, man, I tell you, hold on to those people and put your nails into their back. Don't let them go, because those people are very difficult to find. When someone chooses to give you their time, trust me, they're giving you their life, because that commodity cannot be exchanged for anything else. So trust me, when someone gives you some time, value it. Okay. Unfortunately, a lot of our community, in terms of what we do, in terms of the greater community, even, we don't believe in mentorship. We don't believe in coaching. We don't believe in these kinds of things. I'm sorry, we're a little bit behind from the rest of the world when it comes to stuff like that. Mentorship is huge. It's important. That's why you go to school. You're being mentored by the teacher. And you pay high prices just for that information. So you can eventually sell the information back, and you get a job. All you're doing is you're selling your information. So you're a product. Your mind is a product, and people are going to pay money for that product. And it's what information you hold. So ultimately, take yourself to that next stage and kind of go from there. Now let's get into this, guys, real quick. Flow. What is flow? Okay, flow, top performers. I'm gonna just give you all like what has really hardcore kind of been proven like multiple times over certain studies and from there. Okay, so top performers described as what? What is flow? It's in being in a groove, on a roll, in the zone. Okay, these kinds of things are so important, because now you're living at the edge of your envelope, meaning you're living at the edge of your discomfort zone, in which people believe they are totally involved or on automatic pilot. It's like, I don't have to try. I'm literally just, there's no frustration. Everything is calm, but it's euphoric in terms of when you're actually going after it, and whatever you're doing in terms of the challenge, it's euphoric to you. You feel like you're in the moment. I have this. I'm going to do this. And that certainty in terms of your capability is a whole nother level. And we talked about, guys, again, your belief in your capability. All this stuff that I'm talking about now is it being led up to this in terms of these. Now I'm building on some of the concepts that I've given you before. So from here, in terms of your own belief, when you actually take on the challenge and you lock in, okay, your ability locks in with the challenge, and it's either going to beat you or you're going to beat it. Okay, when you're in flow, you're constantly doing this to the challenge. You're constantly bending its back, and you're constantly moving forward in terms of who you are. That's what flow is. And there's no effort. You don't feel like it's like effortless. You don't feel like you're doing much, but you're gaining so much so quick. That's how it feels. And it's a mindset and it's an emotion. It's actually euphoric. Okay, now watch this, guys. This is huge. 79% of top performers perceive flow to be controllable. You can willingly put yourself in this state willingly 8 out of 10 times. So that's what happens when you formulate your mind and you become a different human being, as we've been talking about in the past lectures. When you become a different human being, now you're genetically encoded, but now you've taken that genetic encodement and you put it forward, and you actually have displayed it into the world. You've taken on the world, you've displayed it to the world, and you've gained so much, where that experience now, you can put yourself in that discomfort zone and win all the time. And if you're in this state, and if you're in this stage, it's incredible what you can do. You can get like 10 days work done in an hour. That's how it feels. Okay, so now let's move forward. This is a little complex. I don't want you to get worried, okay, in terms of what's going to happen. This is an overall process I've had to put together for executives. And I have some of this explained, by the way, on the website, on my website. You can go there and it has all this right here. It's all explained. It's a free course. Take it. It's understanding decision-making. It's something that will really, really change your life. I'm going to give you a little bit about this in terms of the way it works, okay? And why mentorship is so important. And I'm just going to go through this. I'm not going to worry about these at all. And so I just give you an understanding where flow sits, so you understand that. Now, from here, what happens when This is your personality. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, my personality is the edge of my personality. He says the value of a man is what he knows. So what I know, let's say this is me, this is the green zone that I have in terms of that, that's my knowledge, that's my value. So whatever information you have, that's your value, but that's also the edge of your personality. So from there, how do you expand that? Let's say I want to go from here to here, okay? I want to expand myself. I want to make this gray area, I want to make it blue. And when I do that, that's expansion, that's growth, that's going into that. I'm not going to go through all of these in terms of the way they work, but flow sits, guys, right here. This is the zone right here, the zone of discomfort, okay? This yellow zone is the zone of discomfort. This is when, as soon as you step to the edge right here and you enter this zone, you're going to feel what? Fear and hope. This is where these two sit, right here in this zone. That's where flow sits, okay? Because that's where the challenges are. Here, you've already mastered saying the ABCs. Here, you have to learn how to put a word together, okay? And maybe take a spelling test, okay? Right here, it generates fear and it generates hope that I hope I can pass with an A, okay? I'm fearful that I may fail, okay? That's where this sits. Now, you need mentorship, which is a teacher, to teach you and guide you in terms of how that works, okay? And your goal is what? Let's say, just say sales, but regardless of the goal and whatever it is, okay? It's to get a good grade in terms of the exam. Then by doing that, you get your final grade at the end of the semester and you pass, hopefully, or you get a top grade in the class. So that's the way it works. So whenever you're trying to jump from here to here. Now, I'm not going to go too far into this. Again, there's a lot more to this, but I'm just going to show you that flow is right here. It's in this yellow zone. Now, flow is that it's you taking on a challenge. It's you taking on, you're moving from this line, trying to make this yellow zone blue because you want to beat that challenge. So this is the challenge right here in yellow, and it's challenging you as a person, and you want to try to overcome it, like we said, and just beat it and bend its back. That's what flow is. That's where your confidence is. That's where your self-esteem is. Now, I'll explain one last concept and I'll move forward. What happens when we're too scared? We take on the challenge. We're right here. We take on the challenge. We want to move forward in terms of our pursuit. And we said before, almost all positive emotion is goal pursuit emotion. So falling in love with responsibility is like a human drug. It's literally, it gets you high emotionally. And now from here, if you are following goal pursuit and you want this, and you're in the moment, here's what happens to you. Watch this. If we are too fearful from the challenge and the challenge begins to beat us, okay, we will have too much fear. We will retreat into our comfort zone. Okay. If we have too much hope, okay, we will become overconfident and we will jump way over here. We should be jumping, try to beat this challenge. We take on a bigger challenge that's bigger than us, okay, because we're overconfident. We should be taking on challenge number 2. We take on challenge number 7. You're going to fail because you're going to collapse because you're not equipped yet, okay? That's the zone of overconfidence. You don't want to overjump the yellow zone and go into this light gray zone either. So that's the way it works. If you are like that, you have way too much hope and someone's got to pull you back, okay? Tell you like, nah, going too far. If you're in the blue zone and you're too scared, they got to push you forward. That's mentorship. That's real mentorship in terms of the way it works, guys, okay? I'm not going to go through these. These are just way too complicated for this presentation. Okay, so now from here, here's what happens. Now that we've gone through this, where does flow sit, guys? Where it's when you maximize yourself as a person, really understand this, okay? The challenge we talked about and your capability. And if you haven't gone through the science of self-confidence, go back and watch that one. You'll understand why flow is being talked about now, because that was presented earlier. Go back and look at the science of self-confidence, self-efficacy, self-confidence, and self-esteem and how they work, okay? And from there, okay, set that up and watch how this is going to be connected then. Hopefully you watch that one and you're following along. Now, Here's the challenge. As we said, that's the yellow zone, as we talked about. Here's your ability. Okay, here's your knowledge in the blue zone and your capability. And they're going to lock. Think about Imam Hussein alayhi salam in terms of the Battle of Karbala. Okay, ability. He knows he can do it in terms of what he needs to do. I'm not talking about him losing his life or anything like that. That's success. Trust me. In terms of what he did, I'm not going to go through that aspect of it and try to prove that to you, because there is proof for that. But at the end of the day, it's about his principles. His principles overcame. The result is not what happened in terms of the end, in terms of who won and who killed who. It's about what legacy has lived on, what principles have lived forward. Okay, what is evil, what is good? All these things can be talked about, but that becomes a philosophical debate. I don't want to get into that. But now from here, in terms of that aspect, you have challenge versus what? Ability. Watch this. So your skill set versus the challenge, and they're going to lock. And once they lock, here's what happens. If the challenge is too high, so we're going to look at quadrant 1 here. If the challenge is too high and your skill set's too low, that means you're too hopeful and you're jumping out of, you're trying to, instead of going to beat the challenge of 2, you're trying to beat the challenge of 5, 6, or 7. Your skill set can't handle the challenge. Your challenge is going to beat you. It's going to collapse. Okay. You'll know the ABCs. You're trying to put an essay together. You're not going to be able to do it. Okay. Because you haven't learned how to put words together. That's how it works. That creates anxiety. So if you're an anxious person, understand, or you're overwhelmed, or something, understand you're taking on challenges that are maybe a little too big for you. Okay. Or you're not organized properly. Or you're a person that's constantly just, you have a million things across where you just have processes and process, and I can't manage my time properly. That creates a lot of anxiousness. Okay. So that specify. Take on one challenge at a time, and I guarantee you will beat it. But you need to get organized. Again, mentorship comes in heavy here in terms of understanding how that works. Now, let's say the challenge is low and the skill set is also low. You get apathy. Guess what happens? There's like, really, I don't want to deal with life. It's just, life is not, it's just, I don't care for it. I really don't have that push. I'm just demotivated. I don't care. I can care less. People like that. And you can see these guys. You can see this in people, guys. You can see when someone's motivated, when somebody loves what they do and what they're doing it. And it's just like their energy and their motivation is motivating in terms of the way they are, because they're so into what they're doing. It's incredible. Or when you ask them, how you doing? One thing I look at, guys, when I ask someone, how are you doing? Some people, hey man, I'm excellent. I'm great. Life is amazing. Okay. And they're consistent with that. And some people, you ask them and they're like, hey, how you doing? Oh man, I don't know, just life. And it's constant. That's always the response. And that person is a battery drainer. They're not a battery charger. They're a battery drainer. And it's just incredible. See, just the way they're talking is just drains your energy. And it's incredible how that works. And trust me, guys, people like that will affect you. They will affect you. If you're around people like that, and they will affect your energy in terms of who you are. Your emotional structure, they'll affect it. Okay. Now, let's say the skill set is high. You have high skill set. But the challenge is down here. It's low. Okay. That means that what? I have too much skill for the challenge. I'm not being challenged enough. Some people that work are like that. Okay. They're really great employees, or they're great workers, and but the management doesn't know how to challenge them. And these are the type of people who get into the class, or and they pick up things really quick, and they're just really, it's like whatever you give them, if you hold them with the standard of the class, then you're hurting them, because they can take on so much more in terms of their capability. Now, that's the way it works. Now, let's look at this. Let's look at this quadrant, guys. Okay, this quadrant right here is so important in terms of the way it works. Now, when you have high challenge and high skill set, that creates flow. When you are in that discomfort zone and the challenge is not too high, it's not too low for your skill set, okay? And it's just right. And you lock. And once you lock horns, it's incredible what happens in terms of when you become in the moment. That enjoyment is really something special because you just feel like everything comes easy. If you're playing basketball, the hoop looks like it's 10 feet wide and you can hit every shot. That's just the way it looks, okay? You're in that moment. And this is a phenomenon that's studied, I'm telling you, over and over and over again. So that's what you want. But again, this, if you have true mentorship, they will teach you how to get into this state, and the state of really getting where they're constantly pushing you outside your discomfort zone. If you're too fearful, they'll push you outside. They'll tell you, stop. What are you doing? Go forward, okay? Or if you're way too ambitious and you just want to jump, they'll push you back. Like, take on this challenge before. You're trying to go way too fast. That's mentorship in terms of getting that right, just that right equation. So for you now, when you hit that and you hit that right stream within flow and you get results and they're positive, then you do it again, then you do it again, then you do it again. And it's incredible when you create consistent results. You create consistent confidence. That's how it works. And eventually you'll get to general confidence, that you believe in your ability so much that you can walk into the corridor of uncertainty. You can be blindfolded and still defend yourself to anybody attacking you. It's incredible in terms of how that works. And you trust your abilities to such an extent that you become very powerful as a person in terms of who you are, in terms of your demeanor, the way you carry yourself, your character, in terms of not having fear. Go back to that presentation as well, how to build character. Really, if you haven't gone through that one, really go after that one. That was a really good presentation in terms of just understanding the way you work. Now, from here, guys, let's move forward in terms of the 8 factors, okay? So the 8 factors that for top performers and what will get you into flow. I'm gonna try to flow through these as fast as I can because they can be a little bit, there's a lot of information here, but I'm gonna flow through it as fast as I can, okay? So I can give you guys, this is what you do. And there are actually, so just to kind of take you forward, and if I get some texts or emails or something like that in terms of what you guys want, the disruptors of flow, I can do that as well. But I'm probably not going to do that presentation in terms of the next nights. Tomorrow, by the way, I will be doing problem coping and emotional coping. Trust me, guys, you don't want to miss that one. Problem coping and emotional coping are completely different things. I'm going to show you what people resort to in terms of when they're emotionally coping, when we're stressed by life. If you know someone who's depressed, if you know someone who really needs a lot of aid in terms of these things, they need to understand what emotional coping is and how that works. And I'm going to take you through different things that people do to emotionally cope and what is problem coping and how that works in terms of communication, and when to really see when someone is emotionally coping or problem coping. I'm going to give you all that tomorrow. So if someone has high anxiety, angry all the time, all these kinds of things, they have like emotional instability. Okay, you want them to watch that one. Okay, so now from here, here are the 8 factors. Okay, drive, how driven you are in terms of who you are. Excitement, do you really want to? Do you really want this? Is this a passion for you? Focus. Can you, like, even in your salah, how hard is it for us to focus in terms of these kinds of things? Can we get into flow in terms of our own prayer? Okay, are we driven to go towards salah? Are we excited? Okay, check your heart on these things. Are you excited to go towards salah? Are you focused? Is there preparation? You know, we're supposed to actually prepare. How? By the nawafil in terms of that. So when you do the nafila before the salah or after the salah, these are preparations. Okay, health. I'm not going to get into that. There's mental and emotional health. Are you there as well in terms of your own health? Even your body, is it nutritious? Some of us, we can't get up off the prayer mat because we're breathing so heavy. Okay, confidence. When are you confident in Allah that this helps? Guys, there's a reason why a lot of people don't pray, because they don't feel like that what am I doing? Allahu Akbar, Allah, I don't care. It's not doing anything. So, but as soon as you die, you're going to see your salah and what it's supposed to do. because that weight and that sin, you're going to see when you commit it, it's this time of separation that you will feel that on your shoulders. That's when you feel that. Okay. You swear, let's say you swear all the time. And it's just coming to you. It's just a word. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling anything. It's just I swear, you know what I mean? And you even trained your conscience to swear that in certain situations where you're in front of your dad or your mom, and you'll sit there and it'll just come out. Why? Because your conscience is trained in terms of that. So on these things, you got to be very careful in terms of that. Confidence, team play, I'm not going to get into that too much, and emotional stability. Okay. Some of these I'm just going to go through because they're on different levels, but these are the 8 things that will get you into flow. So drive, excitement, focus, preparation, health, confidence, team play. And that's team play is really about being able to work in a team in terms of being a contributor in the team. Now, importance, number 1, this is the first one, importance of motivation to perform. Guys, if you're sitting there, you're lazy, I'm sorry. Okay. If you're sitting there and it's like, I can't do it, I'm sorry. You can't even get to the stage. If you're sitting there and you're like, I can't do this, there's no way, it's impossible. No, you can't be like that. Okay. Being motivated to perform and perform well is important to getting into flow. So to get into the stage, you gotta want it. You have to want being in prayer. You have to want being next to Imam Hussein. You have to want going to school and actually getting an amazing grades and getting yourself to the higher states of education so you get the best jobs. And when you get to the best job, maybe you become a businessman. Okay, you do all this. Your religion is in top shape in terms of what's going on, in terms of who you are. That's the way it works. So on that level, you're just motivated to get yourself to the next level, and it's about performing. I'm going to perform and I'm going to do my best regardless of what happens. Okay, that's number 1. The balance between the challenge, as we talked about, challenge, skill set. When they lock, okay, this is huge in terms of the focus to help to ensure the individual is optimally motivated. Okay, if the challenge is too high and the skill set's too low, you're going to have a problem. The challenge is going to overtake you. Okay, guys, like brothers, sisters, everyone, please. Everyone is leading someone and everyone's being led by someone. Okay, every one of us. You may be a parent, you're leading your children. Okay, if you give them way too high of a skill set, too high of a challenge, and you expect them and you're always telling them their failings, that you're destroying their character. Please understand that match the challenge with the skill. Match this challenge, match it. And once that happens, and give them enough where it creates enough friction for their ability. And it's kind of back and forth, then they win over the challenge. It's so important to create emotional health in terms of them believing in who they are, in terms of getting themselves to the next stage, and they're not afraid to take on bigger and badder challenges. That's the way it works. But it's psychological and emotional health that creates that. And it's all about the challenges in life. People who are very anxious, people are fearful, people who are afraid of decision making, haven't been taught this process. They haven't. This process is all about challenges. When they look at a challenge, the challenge to them is like a threat, and it's going to hit them and it's going to ground them. Even in relationships, when people are threatened and their security is so broken in so many ways, they're afraid to enter relationships. They become avoidant in terms of their relationships. So what happens here is so huge in terms of understanding how that works. So please match, if you're a coach, if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if you're anyone, match the challenge to the skill set. That takes a lot of work. Guys, appreciate our teachers, please. Our teachers have the hardest job in the world. Trust me. And we don't give them enough credit. We don't. And especially good teachers. Please respect them. Let's try to pay them more. In terms of, it's the most important thing. So on that level, I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't want to go rant on further. Okay. So now the balance between skill set, we talked about this in terms of that. Second one, okay. Achievement, potential, arousal levels before performing. Guys, getting someone mentally ready. Remember we talked about mental rehearsal? Okay. When you're about to go into an operation, let's say you're a doctor, and you're about to go into a sports game. Okay, you're a kid. and all the pressure is on you now. Okay, and it's the last seconds of the game, and you have 2 free throws. You have to hit that. That kind of pressure is an opportunity. Okay, but you got to be willing to want that performance in terms of taking on that shot. What contributes to flow here? Number 1, being relaxed. Remember, guys, what we talked about earlier, where chaos is happening all around you, but you're in the eye of the storm. The pressure and the pain is all around you, but all you feel is pleasure because you're so calm and collected. We said, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى وَلَلْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ لَكَ مِنَ الْأُولَى. وَالضُّحَى, Allah swears by the dawn, the daybreak. Okay? وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى, then He swears by the stillness of night. مَا وَدَّعَكَ, Allah has not forsaken you. Allah is always there. He said, we are closer to Him than His own jugular vein. أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. Like, really understand that. Allah is so close to you. He's always right there. He's before your thoughts. Understand that. So, and that, be relaxed. It's okay. Life is okay. It's about creating that safety zone in terms of your own relaxation. That presentation about building character is all about this. And now you're seeing how it connects here. So building character, if you haven't had, be relaxed, be okay. You're going to be fine. When that challenge comes, that fear is going to strike. And when you lock, you need to eat that, kill it in terms of what you're doing. So that all power, strength, ability, no matter how many times you fail, have that strength in terms of moving forward. Now, controlling anxiety. Guys, the challenge is filled with fear, anxiety, responsibility. That's what they're designed for. They're packed with stuff like that. But they're also packed with amazing emotion if you learn how to lock with them. When you do that, and when you lock properly, and it becomes a harmonious dance where you come together and come apart, and then you beat this thing. And when you beat it, guess what happens? It's amazing the amount of energy, mental, emotional strength that you will build. Now you're getting control of who you are. You're controlling that anxiety. Shut that down. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, وَنَفْسُ مِنْهُ فِي عَنَاءٍ. His own self is in distress of him because he's got so much control that nothing can touch him. That's power. That's an ability to do that properly. Cool. Now, enjoying the activity. Guys, this is huge. I'm not going to get into this too much, but find out what you're genetically encoded for, what you really enjoy. What you usually enjoy has what? Has underneath strengths. Usually enjoyment has underneath strengths. That's the way it works. I'm going to leave that there. Okay. Other studies have shown that, okay, there's a balance should be between calmness and arousal. So you need to be ready as well. It's like, imagine the drums of a war going off. You're going to have for that arousal, that fear in terms of those things, but there's a calmness, okay, about you. There's a stillness with an underneath confidence. You ever seen a human being like that? They're so focused. They're so calm, but this person is scary just because of their demeanor. That person is something special because they've learned this equation, relaxation and confidence. They have both calmness with an underneath line of confidence. Wow. It's incredible when you can reach these stages, guys, that nothing around you can shake that. It's so impacted into the ground. It's so packed into the ground. Nothing can move it. Okay. That's the way it works. Now, number 3, okay, focus. Attentional focus is so key. And there's many points here. I'm not going to go through them real quick. Okay. Keep a narrow focus. Guys, this is so important. And some of us were very creative, and I'm just going to get with you guys here that we're like this. It's very hard for us to focus. And ADHD comes out and people start talking. I'm like, man, please, like, guys, don't diagnose people. Don't throw things around like narcissistic behavior and disorders and ADHD. And it's just, man, if you're truly diagnosed with that, then that's fine. But we throw these words around like thinking that everybody's like that. I'm like ADHD. Okay, come on, you know, but even people like that, they're very strong because they're very creative. They have like Ferrari engines, but bicycle brakes. They just need to learn how to navigate properly. And once they do that, they can outperform anyone. So that's that. Maintaining focus is key. That's why your passion, things you like, are so important, because it will help you maintain focus, because you already have so much fuel. You're driven towards that. You want to do this. Now, I'll give you one last thing. Put a kid in front of a movie for 2 hours. They'll sit there and they'll watch it. No problem. They'll pay attention. Why? Because there's interest. They're enjoying it, enjoying the activity. Remember, find what kids love, and I guarantee you they'll give you your attention. Sell them a happy activity. They will give you their attention, guaranteed. That's what they'll give. That's what they'll exchange with you. Now, from here, focusing before performance. Guys, I'm not going to get into that too much because there's a lot more keys to that, but focusing on key points. Key points is your milestones. Where do I need to go next? Okay. Always keep that focus in terms of where I need to go next. That gives you ultimate direction. There are, in a year, there's months, in months, there's weeks, in weeks, there's days, in days, there's hours, in hours, there's minutes, in minutes, there's seconds. Every second is connected to the year. You got to know that. So every action is connected to your goal. And if you're not focused, guess what? You're not going to get there with the time that you want. So you got to focus on what you need. These are the key points in terms of the milestones that you're trying to achieve. Studies indicate that concentration, really pay attention to this is the main point, on the task at hand, meaning the present moment, staying in the present moment, okay, as one of the most frequently mentioned dimensions of the flow experience. It's like I'm in the moment. I'm right here. I can touch, feel everything. Guys, I go outside, I can feel the sun on my face. That's experiencing the moment, okay? If I take cold water and I put it on my face, I can feel my pores in terms of soaking in the water. That's the experience in terms of you taking in the moment. A lot of us, we escape, okay, the moment by going into our imagination, which sometimes is beautiful when it's done properly. And reflection is an amazing thing when it's done properly, okay? But when we focus on the negative things, it's also can be done improperly. So you got to be very careful. Let's go to number 4. Okay. Plans of preparation in terms of this is so important, guys. High performers mention this. Watch, I'm going to give you like, I think 4 reasons here. Following competitives, just routine. Please, guys, if you are a person, and here, if you're high in neuroticism, okay, emotional instability and agreeableness, let's say you're an agreeable person, but you may be high in conscientiousness. But what you want to do is follow a routine. You want to get in routines. These are so important, okay? Because you want to go to sleep at the right time, go to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time, okay? Keep your circadian rhythms operating properly. Why? Because your circadian rhythms are the things that fluctuate. When I'm tired during the day, and when I have energy, and when I'm tired. When I have energy, when I'm tired. These fluctuate. You have circadian rhythms that work like that. They're based on your diet as well, and your insulin levels. So in the morning, have a heavy breakfast with protein, not just carbs. High protein breakfasts. These are important in terms of keeping your insulin levels right. And then from there, it just keeps your energy at a whole nother level throughout the day. So a lot of people, when they're complaining, they're not motivated and stuff like, try these kinds of things. It's incredible what can happen to you. And part of this, the getting to flow, is actually your nutrition as well. But that's the next one. I think there's a couple ones down the line. Okay, so following routines in terms of this and making sure that you're in routine mode, okay, on that level. Feeling totally ready. Guys, when you prepared for an exam and you feel great about it, you can't wait to take on the challenge. That's how it works. You can't, you can't, because you're ready, you're prepped. It's huge in terms of these kinds of things. Plans and preparations literally equipped you to a whole nother level in terms of your mental and emotional states. Now, a competitive plan, okay, planning the week in a preparation, that's also in terms of, it kind of goes into the other one, the feeling, anticipating, okay, guys, in terms of, I always do this with my clients. We lay out a plan and a strategy, then I ask them for one thing that they don't expect at all. And I think that's huge. If you can start looking at things the unusual events that may happen, the potential. You start thinking of something just completely out of line that will not happen, and imagine that you hit that right. And it's incredible when you're actually ready for it. And when it happens, beautifully when it happens. Okay. Number 5. Okay. Physical preparation. Guys, this is really about nutrition. I just talked about it a little bit ago, but please, it's nutrition also appears important for setting optimal conditions for the state of flow to occur. So when you're actually there and you're about to get into that yellow zone, as we talked about earlier, okay, and your ability is about to take on that challenge, your skill set is about to take on that challenge. Wow, what happens to you if you're mentally, physically, which is your nutrition? Let's say you worked out and you're about to let's say get into a wrestling match, or it's physical, it's something where it's a sport. You're ready. That's the way it works in terms of that. So your nutrition is huge in terms of these things, guys. Okay, confidence. Remember I told you about confidence in terms of a trustful. Imagine this is you. Hold on, let me go back here. All right, imagine this is you right here, and this is you catching you. So this is your own ability and what you believe in yourself. Okay, that if I fall, I'm able to catch myself. So if I put myself in a very awkward position, okay, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be fine. That is huge in terms of understanding how that works. Okay, number 1, confidence. Guys, the science of self-confidence, I did it, I think the second day, I think in terms of that, go back to that one. That's huge. Again, look at everything that has been mentioned before. These are all preludes to this presentation. And then after this tomorrow, like I told you, I'm going to be doing problem and emotional coping. And this goes heavy also into relationships, by the way, where when we don't know when to judge someone and a person is actually problem coping and all they want you to do is listen. They don't want you to solve their problem and give them solutions, because you will become the problem if you do that. So if somebody just wants to vent and you're actually trying to solve their problem, you're going to become the problem. I'm going to talk about that tomorrow in terms of building the right relationships with people and knowing when someone's venting versus they're asking for a solution. You got to know the difference. And if you don't, you're going to get in trouble. All right. So look for that one tomorrow. Self-doubt and putting pressure on oneself and perceived as factors that can disrupt flow. Okay, self-doubt. See again, confidence. Opposite of confidence is self-doubt. So self-doubt and self-confidence, they're opposite. This is when I doubt myself. This is when I have confidence in myself. Doubt is created by fear. Fear is created by indecision. Someone who's confident, they're usually very decisive in terms of what they're. So indecision creates fear. Fear creates doubt. Now you're lost. You don't know what to do. And you start calling your best friend. It's, please, I don't know what to do. That's what happens. Doubt destroys flow in terms of you getting into that state, as we talked about. Believing that you can what? Win. Thinking positively. Blocking negative. Listen to this. Blocking negativity. And enjoying what you are doing all help in building confidence. I'm not going to get into that too much. Again, go back to that lecture, watch that one. You'll get a lot more in terms of that. Okay. But believing in oneself is the most critical. Guys, again, please go back to the science of self-confidence. See that in terms of the way it's working. And I guarantee you that will take you to another level. A lot of these things are also on the website. Visit that and you'll be able to see there's so much more. By the way, these are just preludes, guys. There's a lot more underneath this stuff. But I'm just kind of just tailoring it down for the time that I have. Then I'm just trying to give you as much as I can with the time that I have. By the way, okay, I forgot to do this in the beginning and I wish somebody had reminded me, but it's okay. But here we go. Okay, this is a great book, guys. Positive Intelligence. Okay, amazing book in terms of if you want to get this. This is a great book if you're really into kind of self-development, taking yourself to another level. Again, I forgot to mention this in the beginning, but there you go. I fulfilled my promise. All right. Now, number 7, interactive, becoming a team player. Some of us guys, we don't know how to do this. Okay. In team activities, getting into flow sometimes depends on your teammates. Guys, if you're in a sport, if you're in not an individual sport, obviously. If you're in a team, sales team, if you're in basketball, football, whatever, all these, now your team is depending on you. Okay. If you're in a family relationship, okay, your family depends on you. Okay. All these things work in terms of relationship aspects as well. Okay. Positive team interactions, such as, watch this. Okay. Playing as a unit. Okay. So same focus, same different roles, but the same goals in terms of how that works. Open communication, keeping your communication open between each other, huge in terms of getting that. So a whole family, a whole team, a whole community can be in flow. If we just learn how to do this with each other, guys, it's incredible what can happen. And this is what Imam Hussein alayhi salam wanted us to do in terms of a community, a greater home. Let's not talk about each other. Let's help each other. You see someone down, you see someone even making a mistake. Okay, look at their inside. Say, you know what, their inside is better than their outside. Then if you can't do that, let's say then to yourself, you know, I have my faults too. May God help you, and please help me. Judge like that. Let's really take care of each other instead of like pointing the finger and say, like, oh, look at what you're doing. Why? Let's say, look at what we're all doing. Just because I commit sins differently than you doesn't mean I'm better than you. Okay, I just sin differently than you, so I'm not any better than you in any which way. Let's take care of each other. Open that communication. Be direct with people. Have emotional honesty. Again, go back to that presentation. Have emotional honesty. Have mental honesty. Your tongue and your heart are saying the same thing. Can you do that in terms of your communication? That's very powerful. Okay, trusting your teammates. I'm not going to get into that too much. That's self-explanatory in terms of, again, character building, understanding how to build character. That goes into that. Go back into that presentation. Having a shared sense of purpose. That's really the ultimate, guys. And in terms of this, I would tell you this. If you are in a marriage, if you are going towards marriage, if you're a father, if you are a brother, if you are any type of relationship, you want your relationship to be about what? Getting closer to Allah Azza wa Jal. You want that person to be an aid for you to get yourself closer to Allah. That's what you want. That's why you should bring people. That's why you should bring people into your life where you can see yourself walking into heaven hand in hand with them. These are the type of people you want in your life, that they have to go through Allah to get to you, and you have to go through Allah to get to them. That's incredible in terms of having the same goal in terms of there. Now, last thing, guys. Okay. The factor of feeling good. I've told you guys this before, and I said this yesterday. I said, I can't wait to wake up in the morning and just do what I have to do. Guys, I wish the day was 72 hours. Okay. I wish the day was more than that. I wish the days were so long that I wish I didn't have to sleep. Why? Because again, I'm not saying I just love where my life is. I love what I've done in terms of to set up myself. I love what I've done in terms of everything, every aspect of my life. That is huge in terms of you feeling that tranquility when you're feeling like that. And your confidence is there and you can take on life and you have positive intelligence in terms of what you're doing. And it's just, you're reading the scales of wisdom, okay? And you're constantly elevating yourself, okay? You're taking on things in terms of your personality. You're understanding how to get to yes, okay? You're understanding, okay, more philosophical thought about the grand design, Stephen Hawking. You're doing all these things and you're dealing with people and difficult conversations, okay? And you're studying your own personality and what? You're learning who you are, okay? Man, it's incredible what happens to you. Your mind is being fed these things. And it's the most powerful thing that you can own is to dump knowledge into your mind. Your mind is incredible. And some of us, we suffer from a lack of self-esteem, self-confidence, self-efficacy. You know what's in between your ears? Allah has promised He will punish by it and He will reward by it, which is a human intellect. Go in Kitab al-Kafi in al-Hadith. Okay, the first Hadith in Kitab al-Aql. Okay, in terms of that, He talks about al-Aql. And he just the first Hadith that's there. Allah says when He created the mind, He goes through that. He goes through the hadith and how he explains that. He says, go, and it goes. He says, come back, and it comes back. He says, I swear by my mercy, I forgot that part, but he says, I swear that you are my best creation. Allah's saying this. You know how valuable you are as a person in terms of what's in between your ears? And you doubt that ability? Come on, that's incredible. Use that to navigate this and your emotional structure. Learn how to do that and create a cocktail of just spectacular emotions where you could take on anything. You put your faith in Allah, take on your responsibility at hand, live in the moment, drop the outcome, drop the fear in terms of what's going to happen, okay? And take on life and grab the reins of your horse and kick it and move. Watch what happens to you. It's incredible. So feeling good is all about what? The factor for getting into flow that top performers mentioned most often was feeling good about their what? Performance. Guys, that's an amazing concept. Feel good, you will get good results, okay? You'll gain money, you'll gain relationships, you'll elevate your spirituality, your community will raise up your name, okay? Your health will be there because all these things are connected. And once you're constantly developing yourself as a person. So guys, please do as much as you can to put yourself in these stages. I just gave you 8 stages. Tomorrow, like I told you, I'm going to talk about getting into flow. And we talked about getting into flow today. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk about problem coping and emotional coping and what's the difference and how they work. Trust me, you don't want to miss that one. But tonight, what I ask of all of you is just pray for each other, take care of each other. And if there's someone that you're having difficulty with, you know what? Lower the wing of humility, okay? Suspend your ego, versus expanding it. Lower yourself as a person and get off your horse. And maybe just be a little humble in terms of that and come together with that person. And maybe you're right, it's okay. It's even better that you can go to that person. And I'm not telling you humiliate yourself. No, that's not what I'm saying either. There's lines to everything. But take your heart and fill it with mercy, then hand it to the other person. It's incredible what kind of power that is. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Keep us in your dua. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.